you say that name?
After years of butchering the DCEU and hiding behind a fan base of characters he didn't create, Zack Snyder has finally been exposed as one of the most childish filmmakers of this generation. A man who has fully convinced himself that fancy imagery is a replacement for good storytelling, and has spent millions to put this theory to the ultimate test in his new sci-fi adventure Rebel Moon, one of the most embarrassing movies since The Rise of Skywalker, and a fantastic showcase of his inability to develop original characters, and just how much he relies on visuals to distract the audience. Shamelessly ripping off scenes from The Matrix, Vikings, Star Wars, and countless other stories, and adding almost no original concepts worth exploring. 2 hours of nonsensical lore and terrible characterization.
Leave me and let me die in peace.
I have no time for pity!
Okay. What?
But my biggest takeaway from this movie is the disgraceful abuse of slow motion, something that Zack has used effectively in the past, and can be a great filmmaking tool, providing you with the time to feel the emotion of dramatic events, or bringing attention to key details and action scenes that you might have missed. But Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon is one of the worst examples I've seen in a long time, and I want to compare it to some of his previous work and try to figure out what went wrong, and just how this man went from creating iconic moments to slow-mo sesame seeds and flying hot dogs.
Did I dream you dreamed about me?
In 300, from the first battle, we got the chance to see the famous fighting style of the Spartans, as they slowly pushed back the enemy forces and eventually overwhelmed them. And giving Leonidas a ferocious sequence, using slow motion to not only emphasize his attacks, but provide a clear example of their individual skill sets and the different way he uses each weapon, compared to the battle formation where they work together as a unit. A quick and effective way to show us just how dangerous they really are. The movie had the good sense to mix in battle scenes at a regular speed to create tension, and switched back to slow motion to highlight the tactics of the enemy, like showing the threat of the shrapnel from the explosives, or emphasizing the distance of the fall for the war elephants. But one of the best examples in the entire movie is the duel sequence, once again using slow motion for an actual purpose, and taking the time to show their incredible teamwork and synergy to further display their years of training together. .300 is a victim of its own success, as it's mainly remembered for its action scenes, but you rarely see discussion of why they work so well. Taking the appropriate time at the beginning of the movie to explain their history, their training, and the challenge that they're up against, but also having the talent to flesh out their characters and tactics almost entirely during battle scenes. It's one of the things that contributes to the film's excellent pacing, and justified the use of slow motion in several different ways. Now, let's compare that to Rebel Moon. Instead of exploring the dirty politics that led to Leonidas' decision, Snyder no longer has patience for basic storytelling or setup, and is much more comfortable with random forced drama instead. And what better way to do that than to make a bunch of guys go crazy for no reason and threaten a woman? So our main character, Korra, armed with only an axe, engages a group of armed soldiers to save the day. And unlike the amazing casting in 300, bringing the Spartans to life and inspiring millions to get into shape, Rebel Moon features a 5'4" former dancer and tries its best to convince us that she's an action star.
I'm always terrified to hit a real person. Some people, they always tell you, hit me, it's fine, I can take it, and I really don't like it.
And unlike characters like Black Widow and movies like Atomic Blonde that provided believable fight scenes by focusing on their tactics and skills to overcome stronger opponents, we are forced to watch a hobbit overpower soldiers twice their size with ease, capped off with the misuse of slow motion that only accentuates the stupidity of the scene. Zack, I know you think it's really cool that she broke his neck, But why the hell isn't the guy in the back shooting her if she's just standing there? Why doesn't the guy in the left shoot her if he's willing to shoot her 10 seconds from now? What was the point of slowing this down, Zack? Instead of having an actual purpose like in 300, it's become clear that he now treats slow motion like a toy. A special sauce that he can smear over every scene, and is far too dialed into his blurry vision to see how much it ruins his work. Showing Kara bent over, but somehow overpowering a soldier with one arm, or having her stop two people at the same time like she's fucking Rock Lee. Having them miss when she's wide open, or just straight up refusing to shoot her. The pattern continues in the bar fight after the angry orc comes back with his boys and she's completely surrounded. The two in the front shoot at her and completely miss, while the guy in the back does nothing. Then as she turns to face him, the two in the front run to take cover, and the guy in the back runs away instead of taking a clean shot. She flips over a wooden table that somehow is strong enough to block their blast, while also completely ignoring the fact that there's still a guy behind her. She embraces her plot armor, leaving the cover of the table and running right into the line of fire for no reason at all. And then they have a whole sequence of her beating up the orc, while the guy in the back just refuses to shoot her. And of course, when he finally manages the courage to pull the trigger, they have him miss. And then we get the bizarre ending, where Cora forgets to turn off bullet time and gets stuck in slow motion, while the orc is at normal speed. But instead of just pulling the trigger, they put him on pause so the story can continue. A bold showcase of plot armor and bad choreography, and one of the best examples of Zack at his worst. In exchange for using slow motion for character moments, it's now for whatever he thinks is cool, bringing more attention to his mistakes than ever before and providing no extra benefit to his scenes. And after seeing the pretentious Snyder Cut and the abysmal Rebel Moon, it makes me appreciate 300 so much more with how effectively they used it, and I think it's really important to point out the difference. JJ ruined mystery, Ryan ruined subversion, and now Snyder's trying to take our slow-mo. Somebody must stop this man. I've had enough of his stupid vision. No more Snyder Cut cope. It's time to accept the truth. He is a person with a passion for concepts and exciting payoffs, but he doesn't have the talent to create them himself, with some of his best work being either remakes or adaptations, punishing us with Army of the Dead and wasting our lives with a 4-hour Justice League film.
Anymore.
No more Snyder sewage. It's time to explore someone else's vision.
Oh, fuck off.
It's a bit of a love letter to sort of, you know, late 70s, early 80s kind of fantasy, sci-fi, you know, whether it be Excalibur or whether it be, you know, Star Wars or Empire or, you know, Conan the Barbarian, whatever. You know, there's a lot of that in it, sort of, because it's science fantasy, you know, it has that, we don't really have any, there's no real hard science in it, you know, it's like, how do the spaceships work? I don't care.